Mah Yast. This Yast to the moon is recited on the day of the moon, and on those of Bahman, Gos, and Ram. Bahman, Gos are so far connected with the moon that all three are Ga Akithra. Bahman, the moon, and Gos. All three are having in them the seed of the bull. Bahman can neither be seen or seized with the hand. The moon proceeded from Bahman and can be seen but cannot be seized with the hand. Gos proceeded from the moon and can both be seen and seized with the hand. Ram is referred to here as being Havastra, Lord of the good pastures. Of this Yasts, we have translations in Pahlavi, Persian, and Sanskrit. So wait, you got the moon and its lunar nodes, the Ratu and the Ketu of India, which help you predict the eclipses. 0. May Ahura Mazda be rejoiced, and so on. Acham Bahu, holiness is the best of all good, and so on. I confess myself a worshipper of Mazda, a follower of Zarathustra, one who eats the Da'avas and obeys the laws of Ahura for sacrifice, prayer, propitiation, and glorification unto Havana, the holy and master of holiness, and so on. Under the moon that keeps in it the seed of the bull, unto the only created bull, and under the bull of many species. B. Propitiation with sacrifice, prayer, propitiation, and glorification. Yata ahuv aerio, the will of the Lord, is the law of holiness, and so on. 1. Hail to Ahura Mazda, hail to the Ameshaspentas, hail to the moon that keeps in it the seed of the bull. Hail to thee, when we look at thee. Hail to thee, when thou lookest at us. 2. How does the moon wax? How does the moon wane? For 15 days does the moon wax. For 15 days does the moon wane. Well, the average is a little bit higher than that because, it's 29 days, 12 hours, 40-something minutes, some odd seconds. As long as they're waxing, so long is the waning. As long as they're waning, so long the waxing. Who is there but thee, who makes the moon wax and wane? 3. We sacrifice unto the moon that keeps in it the seed of the bull, the holy and master of holiness. Here I look at the moon, here I perceive the moon, here I look at the light of the moon, here I perceive the light of the moon. The Ameshaspentas stand up, holding its glory. The Ameshaspentas stand up, pouring its glory upon the earth made by Mazda. 4. And when the light of the moon waxes warmer, golden-hued plants grow on from the earth during the spring. We sacrifice under the new moons the full moons, and the Vishaptatas. We sacrifice under the new moon the holy, the master of holiness. We sacrifice under the full moon the holy and master of holiness. We sacrifice unto the Vishaptata, the holy and master of holiness. I will sacrifice under the moon that keeps in it the seed of the bull, the liberal, bright, glorious, water-giving, warmth-giving, wisdom-giving, wealth-giving, riches-giving, thoughtfulness-giving, wheel-giving, freshness-giving, prosperity-giving, the liberal and the healing. For its brightness and glory I will offer unto it a sacrifice worth being heard, namely unto the moon that keeps in it the seed of the bull. Unto the moon that keeps in it the seed of the bull we offer up the libations, the ha'ama and meat, the barisma, the wisdom of the tongue, the holy spells, the speech, the deeds, the libations, and the rightly spoken words. Yenhe Ham, all those beings of whom Ahura Mazda, and so on. 7. Yata ahuv aerio, the will of the Lord is the law of holiness, and so on. I bless the sacrifice and prayer and the strength and vigor of the moon that keeps in it the seed of the bull, and of the only created bull, and of the bull of many species. Hashem Bahu, holiness is the best of all good. Give unto that man brightness and glory. Give him health of body, and so on. Give him the bright, all-happy, blissful abode of the Holy Ones. Now, just like in the Vedic, we have the Agni of the fire, Atar, and we have the that could be said to be the solar in a sense, and the lunar would be the soma or the ha'ama in this case. And the reference to the bowl, so the will and the consciousness, basically. The sun bowl and the moon bowl is, that's a symbol that comes up a lot that we see. The Amshaspan Bahman is entrusted with the care of the cattle. We have the genius of the cattle. Bahman is good thought, good mind. Bahu Mano. In the Vedas, the moon is said to have been made out of the mind, manas, of Purusa. So, see, the nama is bringing to mind, so it's not quite the same as worshiping something. We're offering benedictions. We're remembering something and being grateful for it. We're doing things in the presence of something. It's like if the moon's out at night when I'm doing my seasonals out there, the moonlight is a particular thing. It always kind of, at some point something kind of directs over there. For an explanation of that old mystical myth, there's other sources we can refer to. And people can say that the moon allows itself to be perceived, which is an interesting reference. The Pahlavi translation in regards to that part of verse 2, that's the cycles, but it has the following interesting details. For 15 days, they take good deeds from the earthly creatures and the rewards for virtue from the heavens. For 15 days, they make the rewards pass to the earth, and the good deeds pass to the heaven. The moon is thus a sort of moral clearinghouse between earth and heaven. Or at least it, represents how we wax and wane, just like the seasonals represents that sort of thing too. And things vary per area, so, the sort of seasonal mythology that I manifest is, or lunar mythology may not be seen in the sort of the same way, but according to the Parsis, the waning does not refer to the moon, but the constellations that help it in the struggle against the planets which are supposed to belong to the Ahramanian world. While it waxes, namely the moon, they wane, namely those that are opposed to the planets and to the bad stars. For instance, Hafto, Ivreng, Vanand, Tistar, Satves, and so on. While it wanes, namely the moon, they wax, that is to say, they are strong for doing good. Thus, the moon and the stars relieve each other in the battle against Ahriman. And for people who aren't devotees to the demons of the Goetia, a lot of people will only do these operations when the moon is waxing, so it can take years extra to go through the sequence if that's what one is doing, if half the month you're, And so things being done as soon as the moon appears in verse 3. So the angels responding to the cycles of nature. Miste means sada, and miste is a word where here the growing on, and zaremaem meaning vas an tamase. So I guess entities of that. New moon and full moon are not used here in the English meaning. The month was divided into 6 parts of 5 days each. The Norse had the fimpt, our 5-day week. Russians had that thing too. You might see Vigfossen, I sound like a dictionary. The first 5 days, Pankak, Fartum, form the new moon, are Antara Maunga, literally the moon within, for the next 5 days, Pankak Datigar formed. The Pareno Maunga, literally the moon full, which is in fact partly answered to our first quarter. In the next 5 days, Pankak Sitigar belong to the full moon. We're called the Vishap Tapa. No mention is made in the last 3 Pankak, forming the second half of the month. It may be that they were not mentioned as belonging to the waning period when the powers of the moon are suffering an eclipse. And in verse, the water giving and all that in verse 5, the possessing, the giving may be replaced in this word as the following. So see, the possessing of the quality of the angel. So there's the quality, there's the angel that manifests the quality, and the God that's beyond the qualities. It's Varik Kan Gatem Danak. In Pahlavi is Danak. In Sanskrit, it's Gnanitaram Kastatavatem Lakshmi Vatem is mentioned there in, the wealth giving as the Sanskrit translation.